One soldier of the Indian Army has been killed and 2 injured in an attack on a military base in Indian-administered Kashmir. It happened at an army camp in the Baramulla region. A grenade was thrown at a checkpoint at the military base and was responded to with gunfire. The Indian Army says the situation is now under control. Well, let's get more on this developing story from Wasim Khalid. He is in Srinagar in Indian-administered Kashmir with the latest. Thank you so much for joining us. What are you hearing there on the ground in terms of how this began, what took place, and how many people have been injured?
It happened around 10:30 p.m. tonight in the north of Kashmir, around 55 kilometers from the summer capital Srinagar. So far, the sketchy details are coming out. Some people say that it was a suicide attack, and some say it was mounted. They have mounted an assault on the camp, on a battalion headquarters of the army in North Kashmir, Baramulla district. But so far, we have been the sketchy details, which have unconfirmed reports, which have come. They say that two paramilitary forces have been killed and 2 militants have died. But these are unconfirmed reports. So far, nothing has confirmed, but the attack is going on, and there has been a heavy exchange of fire, which is still being reported from the area.
Yes, we have spoken to some people who've been witnesses on the ground, Wasim, who said that they did hear explosions and gunfire. Now, I've also been told by some people that these kind of attacks aren't altogether uncommon in this particular area of the world. Do you see it as more significant given the heightened tensions in recent weeks?
Yeah, exactly. It holds a lot of significance. But such kind of attacks are uncommon here. They occur intermittently here. Mostly the army installations or the paramilitary installations are the target. The significance is that, like, some few weeks, there is already a uprising going on within the Kashmir Valley, and during the uprising, attacks happened in the northern area of Uri. Brigade headquarters of army was targeted in that attack, and 19 soldiers died and 30 were wounded. And up was a tension rose between India and Pakistan, and India blamed Pakistani militants, Pakistan-based militants attacking the base. Thereafter, some days later, India claimed 3 days ago that they have mounted a surgical strike within the Pakistani territory in Pakistani-administered Kashmir, which Pakistan refuted. So this attack has come just after Indian claims, a few days after India claimed that it has conducted a surgical strike inside the Pakistani Kashmir, where they have lasted the militant camps. So in that context, it has a significance of its own. Now we have to see the Indian responsibility. Yeah.
Wasim Khalid in Srinagar, thank you for the update. Well, for more perspective on recent events and this ongoing conflict, I'm joined now by TRT World's Ali Mustafa. Ali, great to have you with us. As we just heard there from Wasim, this is causing more tension off the back of what's been happening in recent weeks. Now, I know you've spent a large part of your career covering this story. It's 70 years in the making. Talk us through the significance and the build-up that's led to this pressure cooker exploding.
Well, as Wasim was mentioning, this entire series of attacks, which India blames on Pakistan, started last month. That is when 4 attackers attacked the Uri base in Indian-administered Kashmir. It's an attack which India blamed on Pakistan. Pakistan said it had nothing to do with it. India uses the terminology here is very important. India calls these attacks cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistani-administered Kashmir. Pakistan says this is localized resistance to what it calls is Indian occupation of Kashmiris. So terminology is very important, and as Wasim was mentioning, after the Uri attack last month in September, India launched in the past few days so-called surgical strikes against what it says were terrorist launching pads from where militants were infiltrating from Pakistani-held areas into Indian-administered Kashmir, so the pressure is up
And Ali, we know at least one Indian Army soldier has been killed. But in terms of the significance of this event and worst case scenario, this has been building for quite some time now. And we're talking about two nations who are both armed with nuclear weapons. We've already had the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon also offer to mediate. How bad could this situation get?
There's too much at stake. We're talking about India, which has over 1 billion people. We're talking about Pakistan, which has around 200 million people. And as you were mentioning, this conflict has been going on since 1948. There have been 3 wars between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. We're talking about 1948, we're talking about 65, and we're talking about the Kargil conflict, which happened in 1999. So the chance of a protracted conflict is there. Does this then escalate to nuclear war? Well, we have to be very cautious here. Despite the rhetoric emanating from both India and Pakistan for a war-like situation in the media, elsewhere, despite those harsh words, we have to keep in mind that the situation right now is a protracted conflict, and till that time there'll be a lot of pressure internationally and from within these countries to pull back.
Protracted conflict. Thank you so much, Ali Mustafa, for the update and your insight.